All right, guys, so this is completely insane. We obviously talk a lot on this channel about the corruption that exists in the United States of America, whether it's our campaign finance system or super PACs or billionaire donations or foreign lobbying groups. And that's just sort of, I guess, thought of as the baseline foundation of corruption that the entire American political system rests on top of. And that's one kind of corruption. The other kind of corruption is the Trump family kind of corruption, which apparently just means directly fleecing the American people and robbing the American government to the tune of billions and billions of dollars for Trump himself, as well as his family and the rest of his White House lackeys. So I wanted to just give you guys a full breakdown on just scratching the surface of some of what we've gotten on his financial disclosures over the last couple of days here. So a recap. In February, Trump bought $5 million worth of Axon Enterprise stock. Just days later, ICE awarded them a massive government contract. So the details on this one. He purchased $1 to $5 million of Axon stock on February 10th earlier this year. 2 weeks later, on February 24th, ICE sought a $220 million 5-year contract for roughly 18,000 tasers from their product line. So just direct, brazen insider trading that we're looking at. Another one, Nvidia. Multiple purchases, including $500,000 to $1 million on January 6th of this year and more around early February, preceded the Commerce Department actions loosening export controls on advanced AI chips to China and a major Meta deal. Again, insider trading. Another one, Palantir, 9+ transactions, hundreds of thousands of dollars in Q1 of 2026. The company holds major Pentagon contracts, including expansions tied to $1.3 billion in AI and defense work, and Trump publicly praised it on Truth Social in April, mentioning the stock ticker, after which the stock then recovered. So now we're graduating to not just trading on insider knowledge to profit millions and millions of dollars, but directly tweeting out the stock ticker of the company you just invested in order to form some sort of a hype train and drive the stock price up. Another one, Intel, multiple purchases in March of 2026 benefited from a U.S. chip manufacturing policy and government involvement and stakes. Another one, defense contractors like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics purchased in Q1 ahead of or around escalated Iran-related military activity and increased defense spending and production pushes. So now we're profiting directly off of warfare as well. Another one, Eli Lilly, up to $730,000 in purchases coincided with favorable government decisions and policies benefiting the GLP-1 weight loss drug. More, tech giants, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Oracle, Broadcom, Apple, AMD, etc. Frequent high-volume trades around policy shifts, AI and tech initiatives, and government contracts. One more here, Dell Technologies, $1 to $5 million purchased on February 10th of this year. 9 days later, on February 19th, he says, publicly endorsing Dell, go out and buy Dell computer. Apparently just one. He wants people to buy one computer collectively, but go out and buy Dell computer. And the company later secured a major government contract. So again, he's not just doing insider trading, which would be bad enough. And there's plenty of other members of Congress, by the way, who are also doing insider trading. Magically, mysteriously, somehow Congress always manages to beat the market. Somehow, who knows how they're doing that? But this is taking it even a step and above that, because he's directly tweeting out using his platform and position as the president to say, go and buy this company's products, go and buy this stock directly in order to drive it up after he purchased it. More here, because the crypto stuff that he's been doing with World Liberty Financial, as well as his meme coin, really accounts for like the bulk of the billions of dollars that he has amassed in just his second term. Of course, his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, said, I don't think there's an appearance problem in regards to this corruption. So here from CBS News, they say, according to financial disclosures released earlier this week, Trump has earned approximately $1.4 billion fucking dollars from his crypto ventures since the beginning of his second term. Those included his meme coin, Trump, and earnings from World Liberty Financial, a cryptocurrency backed by the president and his family. Congressional Democrats criticized Trump's crypto windfall, arguing that it represents a conflict of interest since his administration has sought to loosen regulations on cryptocurrency. It's, by the way, not just that there's a conflict of interest on loosening of crypto regulations. I'll show you another example of just rank corruption here in a second. But just to put in perspective how much he has made from his crypto ventures of World Liberty Financial and his meme coin, look at this chart here, guys. Trump out-earned the biggest listed US crypto firms in 2025. By the way, this is the same Donald Trump who just a few years ago was openly talking about crypto as though it's just this massive scam, right? That it's for drug dealers and it's for scammers. And he apparently then looked at that and said, wait, hold on a second. I can get in on this, right? I can be the scammer and make potentially billions of dollars. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, again, look at this chart. $1.4 billion for Trump. The next closest to him in terms of the leading US crypto firms, Coinbase, $1.2 billion. Then you have CleanSpark down at $365 million. He is out earning even the cryptocurrency companies themselves, right? Or the trading companies themselves. Completely insane. Another thing here from Reuters. Under the Trump crypto playbook, the family always wins and investors don't. Look at the fucking numbers here. Risking little of their own money, the US president and his sons have added at least $2.3 billion to the family fortune from their main crypto ventures, while the investors that they've wooed to go into these crypto ventures with them have taken a $2.3 billion hit. So the family makes $2.3 billion. The investors who he convinced to get in on this with him lose $2.3 billion. Again, this is just literal robbery. The president is robbing, in many cases, his own people. I mean, they have a couple examples here of individuals who got behind some of the stuff that he was pitching. So they say it was January of 2025. Crypto fever was raging and Donald Trump was preparing to return to the White House. So when Fatemeh Eldray's family told her about an online message from the US president hyping the launch of his own crypto coin, Get Your Trump Now, she thought, oh my God, this is brilliant. If Trump is putting his name behind it, she recalled thinking it must be a legitimate investment. Probably not a good thought process there, given that Trump is the most brazenly corrupt and obvious con man that we've ever had in the history of this country, but she fell for it. And they say the 29-year-old software project engineer in Santa Barbara, California, put $2,000 of her savings into the Trump meme coin, a purely speculative crypto token whose value is driven by social media hype. All that remained, she thought, was to sit back and wait for the price to climb. Instead, the price plummeted, and at the end of May, her Trump holding was worth less than $120. Meanwhile, the Trump family pocketed hundreds of millions of dollars from the token sales after putting little to none of their own money in the project. He is fleecing his own supporters, sending out messages directly to them saying, buy this coin, it's a good investment, and then he's doing a fucking rug pull behind them, right? No risk to himself at all. $2.3 billion that his family has profited from this. Another angle of this is the pardon corruption, where effectively you have people who are just donating to Trump or investing in his companies or buying his meme coin or whatever else, and then he turns around and gives favorable pardons to them or whoever they want to be pardoned. And one example of this, one of the most brazen ones, was this guy CZ, right? The billionaire Binance founder and Zhao's company, who worked extensively with the Trump family's World Liberty Financial business, with World Liberty USD1 stablecoin, then used for a $2 billion investment made in Binance earlier in the fall. Binance launched a task force when CZ was in legal trouble at striking a deal with World Liberty after Trump won the 2024 election, in the hopes of easing Zhao and Binance's legal woes. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday, with Binance's engineers building the technology behind USD1's token. They say Zhao's pardon also came after Trump erased another legal trouble for his company with the Security and Exchange Commission, dropping a lawsuit against Binance in May, only days after the exchange began listing USD1. So again, now we're handing out pardons to corrupt criminal billionaires because they, decided to the tune of billions of dollars, tie themselves together to the Trump family's World Liberty Financial coin. I mean, again, it is staggering. Like, there's a ton of corruption that that happens in this country at every single level, but we have never seen anything like this. Like, he just flipped a switch in his second term, and he's like, hang on a second, nobody gives a fuck, nobody's coming after me, nobody's going to hold me accountable for any of this, let's just rob everybody and be as brazenly corrupt as we possibly can in everybody's faces. By the way, at the same time that average working class Americans can barely afford basic life necessities on housing, on healthcare, on groceries, on gas, on childcare, etc. Everybody is struggling in this country, vast majority working paycheck to paycheck, barely making it by, and this is what he is prioritizing in terms of himself. Now, we also have, I mean, this is just almost some shit out of like a comic book villain mafia story, right? The Trump administration funneled $1.6 billion in taxpayer funds to a Kazakhstani mining company partly owned by Don Jr. and Eric Trump, his sons. Donald Trump made a personal call to Kazakhstan's president to secure the mining approval for his son's investment. Again, using his position of power as the president to secure contracts for a company that then his sons can profit from. And look at this goddamn picture. I mean, he is fully coked up at this moment. He might be coked up as well, but look, Don Jr. clearly coked up. Eric Trump probably coked up in this picture, and he's securing, potentially like $1 billion deal here for some Kazakhstan tungsten mining or whatever for his coked up sons. I mean, it's completely disgusting. More here in terms of mining. There are 14 companies tied to Trump and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick who are actively involved in taxpayer-funded mining deals, earning nearly $10 billion. More here, and this is really one of the most grotesque examples that I'm going to show you guys here. So there was a lawsuit against this company, Abbott Laboratories, over substantial evidence alleging that they sold baby formula with contaminated deadly bacteria because of the unsafe standards at some of their facilities. And this was a lawsuit that was underway. It looked like there was potentially going to be restitution or whatever else for people who had been affected by this. And instead, we get this. Abbott donated $500,000 to Trump's inauguration fund, and now a federal investigation into them has been dropped. Under the Trump administration, as pointed out by Melanie, you can poison babies for a price. Apparently that price is only $500,000. You would think it would be even a little bit more than that would be required in order to get away with literally poisoning babies. But for Trump, I guess the price is relatively cheap. We have more here from Sludge. Trump bought hundreds of stocks the day before he paused tariffs and sparked a historic rally. So he knows in his mind, I'm about to go make a big tariff announcement that we're pausing our, sweeping tariffs against every country on the face of the planet. And so he makes a bunch of investments into companies he knows is going to do well as a result of that announcement. Then he makes the announcement and the stocks surge. We're talking about, again, hundreds of stock moves that he was making the day before. More here. July 23rd, 2025, Trump purchased up to $30 million in stock from Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Amazon, and Broadcom. Later that day, the White House announced a new deregulatory AI agenda, sending each company's stock surging. Another one here. Trump announced his big 2-week ceasefire with Iran on April 7th. That same day, he sold up to $1 million in Exxon stock before the price declined from a near record high. More here, because at the same time that we have all of this insider trading going on, we also have further insider trading going on, but not in the stock market, but on these prediction markets, right? So here from CBS News, online prediction market traders make millions betting on U.S. military operations. So we have seen this in the Venezuela operation. We saw this where we kidnapped Maduro. We saw this with the war in Iran, where you will have people just like anonymous accounts suddenly spark off and make like multi-million-dollar bets that the U.S. is going to strike Iran tomorrow, that the U.S. is not going to strike Iran tomorrow, and then they make off like bandits. There is no oversight for any of this. There's no fucking accountability for any of this. We don't know who these people even are. They could be Trump himself. They could be his family members. They could be other people in the White House. They could be random people within the military. We have no idea who is making these bets, but it's this new like perverted gambling that we have in this country where you're able to not only do like sports betting, but now you're able to gamble on literal life and death situations with warfare. And by the way, the amount that the American people have escalated our gambling addiction is utterly and completely insane. I saw some data that it was back in like 2018 in the United States of America, the total amount that was spent on sports gambling was like $8 billion total. Fast forward a couple of years, now we're 2025, right? Like 7 years later, it went up from like 8 billion to $165 billion on sports gambling. It's more than we spend on like our cars, our, going to the movies, going to sports events themselves, everything put together. It's become this massive sprawling industry that's just, for the most part, like rank corruption or just speculative gambling, or a bunch of people who, get roped into this thinking that it's going to be easy and then end up completely financially ruining themselves as a result of it. Final couple of things that I have here for you guys, just to put all of this into perspective. From the Financial Times, Donald Trump declared making more than 22,000 stock transactions in 2025. You compare this to previous administrations, even compared to his first administration, right? Trump 2.0 in his second term, in 2025, 22,000 trades, and then in 2026, already 6,100 trades. In the Biden administration, he made 13 total trades over a 4-year period, right? And in even Trump 1, his first administration back from 2016, he was only making like a couple hundred trades a year, which is a couple hundred too many because presidents shouldn't be allowed to even own stock in the first place, let alone be doing individual trades like this. But it's just absolutely skyrocketed. And again, it's because he knows that he can get away with it. We had this excerpt from the New York Times back from January of this year, where they asked him why, having told his family not to make new business deals in foreign countries during his first term as president, that he was now permitting them to do so. His answer was, because I found out that nobody cared. I'm allowed to. So look, I mean, this is like, Trump is the embodiment of the rot and the deep levels of corruption within this country. He is a symptom. He's taking it to the extreme, but he really is a symptom, right? There, in no functioning country that actually had mechanisms for accountability to the people, would a president be able to get away with this level of corruption, right? I mean, again, this is what happens when you have, the overturning of Citizens United. This is what happens when you allow billionaires and mega corporations to dump billions of dollars into elections, into political campaigns, foreign lobbying organizations, or individuals like Miriam Adelson, who can give $200 million to Donald Trump in order for him to serve the interests of the state of Israel. This is just the baseline level of corruption that then leads to this kind of corruption. So needless to say, for this kind of shit, Trump should be in prison. His entire family should be in prison. He should be impeached for this immediately. Obviously, is that going to happen? Republicans are never going to allow that to happen. Democrats don't seem to be putting up much of a fight on any of this. I mean, some of them call it out, but where are the actual moves to do anything about this? Like, we need a full-blown rewrite of what this country actually is. We need campaign finance reform. We need strict accountability mechanisms in order to prevent this kind of shit from happening. And we need all of these motherfuckers that are involved in this to be sent to prison.
Politic guy has the best politics. Believe me, no one does it like him. Believe me, everyone is saying